name is Hani Faraj and I live in Yaletown, Vancouver. What made me decide to be a real estate agent is I used to be in lending, 3 years in BC and 2 years in Ontario. And the last year of when I used to be a mortgage broker, I was helping a couple of realtors as a strategy to get business and stuff like that. And they were just telling me about their experiences of helping buyers and sellers, and there's a lot of more interaction face to face. And I love working with people, I love being face to face with people, and love problem solving. And that part of the business really appealed to me a lot. I love working in Vancouver and the surrounding areas of Vancouver. But again, being from Ontario, you're not used to seeing mountains and oceans and all these different amenities that the city offers. The areas I specialize in is I like working in Vancouver, West Vancouver, North Vancouver, and Burnaby. What makes me an expert in these areas is that, again, that's what I do. I'm a buyer and a seller agent in Vancouver full time. I'm always practicing. We do huge volumes as a team and as an individual. So I'm always having my finger on the pulse for sure. The benefit of when you're working with our team and you're a buyer is that we don't just look at the MLS. We look on expires. We look at for sale by owners. We do mailouts. We want our buyers to have the most advantage when it comes to buying a home. I believe we have the most aggressive digital marketing strategy for sellers, and it's not just what I think, it's also the stats from the board tell us that we sell listings 63% faster than the average agent based on what they tell us. And that's because of the mass media marketing that we do. 90% of all buyers are ending up on the internet sometime in the buying process. So because we're so massive online, we go above and beyond to make sure there's more eyeballs on people's properties, and that's what I love. It's one of my favorite things. What I love to do on my free time is I love reading, I love listening to audiobooks, I love cooking, I love going out to different restaurants. I'm a big foodie. If you're ever in town, you don't know where you're going for food, call me. And I tend to also attract the people that work with me also love the same stuff I do, so it's pretty cool. An example of a difficult transaction that I helped solve, I think the most challenging one was something that happened recently. We had a couple and they were buying. They had already sold their house and they were buying and they needed certain dates. Unfortunately, we tried to reason with the seller. The seller wanted like 10 grand to move the date, like 3 days. What I decided is like, look, I have an idea. I have an assistant. I can have her come here. You can tell her where to put everything when the furniture comes and everything like that on the day of the moving. And you'll be taken care of. So while these clients of ours were away on a trip, we ended up getting their house cleaned, we ended up moving them and putting the furniture exactly what they wanted, and they had a peace of mind. And more importantly, they did not have to lose sleep or ruin their trip by worrying too much about what was happening in Vancouver. There's really so many things I love about having a team. More importantly, why I think having a team benefits the client is because the client is not dependent on one person. As you know, one person can only do so much. They can only be with one client at the same time. So what we do with our team is that there's always somebody else that can come in and still serve that client. And it's the same thing with showing property. Like every weekend we might have 4 or 5 open houses from sellers. Guess what? Because we're such a large team and we have so many people that are so eager to help, we can do open houses all weekends for everybody. So the client never suffers because the realtor is too busy, for example. And also the client gets experts. So if they need help buying or selling, they have somebody who's dedicated for them. Why I decided to start the Vancouver House Finders team is really I started out as a lone wolf. I was working alone and I realized very quickly once I started my marketing that it was actually really good, and we had so much demand from people that wanted our help. So I ended up recruiting people, first with a friend of mine, Fred, and we've been now we're growing exponentially. So it was more of, we realized that people need help with buying and selling, and the kind of customer service that we're providing with people just attracted so many different people. So what made us choose Sign is, there's so many reasons, but the most important one was that it was a Canadian company. Second thing is that they had so many offices. Because of how our team dynamic is, we have realtors that specialize in certain areas and that's what they work in. So for example, one of my partners who's in Coquitlam, if she's meeting with a client and in that area, she doesn't have to drive all the way here or all the way to Vancouver or a different city to meet with the Sutton. Has multiple offices. We have access to them any day of the week, anytime. So it gives the realtor the benefit of always providing customer service to clients, and it also gives the client the brand recognition that Sutton has.